Hello, everybody out there. How's everybody doing? Got a special guest today, world renowned author, guy who spent 43 years in prison for a crime that he didn't commit, musician, singer, not a singer, not a singer, writer. Anyway, I'm talking about the incomparable Charles Lewis. I'd like to welcome Charles Lewis to the show. Uh, Thank him for being here. Anyway, my name is Charles Lewis. I'm glad to be here. This is my first time on this podcast. And I just like to talk. First of all, I like to give honors to T.I. and Wallow because I just saw a show expeditiously on T.I. and Wallow, and I believe that show changed my life. You know, because I've probably done significantly more time than both of them. I think Wallow had the distinction of doing 19 to 20 years. T.I. probably did about 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years, but I did 43 years. Uh, and so, and I did 43 years for a crime that I didn't commit. Uh, but I saw this video today by Wallow and T.I., and I was inspired. You know, I really was. I mean, those two brothers, man, they got it going on. And I don't know either one of them. I got mad love for both of them, though. I'm proud of them because they came out of prison, turned their lives around, and began to make legitimate money. And I love any brother that does that, man, because 70% of us fail. 70% of the guys who get out of prison end up returning to prison because it is very difficult out here for a guy to make it out here. Man, I'm just being brutally honest, man. It is extremely difficult. So for me, I got out at 60. Um, and I moved from Detroit to Georgia. And a lot of people ask me, so man, what made you move from Detroit to Georgia of all places? Well, first of all, my mother was here and my sister was here. That's first. But second, you know, like when I got out of prison, I knew a lot of guys in the underworld. And they were coming by my sister's house and they were just dropping off blessings. And at the same time, let me know, hey man, we got 4 bodies to go, man. It's 50 on each of them, man. You get all 4 of them, that's 200 grand you can put in your pocket. I know you need, you just got out. You know, now the guy come by, hey man, I'm finna ride down to Arizona, man. And, you know, 25 grand, man. Just ride with me, man. I'm picking up 100 keys, man. 10 of them yours if we make it back. If we make it back, you know. So I think what I realized at the time was I wasn't really a criminal. I went to prison for something I didn't do. And I couldn't tell these cats, hey man, I ain't the guy you think I am, you know. So I had to just get on a plane, fly to Georgia. And so when I got to Georgia, man, I went to fill out applications, jobs. I had a job at BioCheck. And hey man, I'm working there. This woman is training me. She got arms this big, you know. I look like a fullback for the Atlanta Falcons. So she come to me, she say, Mr. Charles, I've been noticing you've been doing the boxes one at a time. The boxes weigh 25 pounds. And I say, yeah. She said, you need to pick them up 2 at a time. Pick them up 2 at a time. I tried. I couldn't even get them out the box. I said, I can't do this. So I worked there for about a week till I get my first check. I was out of there. You know, and I couldn't do it no more. So then I had a job at this cup joint, man, on it wasn't Decatur. It's once you get past Decatur, some other little city, man. Anyway, you go straight down Harrison, then you get there. So it's a cup joint. I'm thinking it's gonna be easy because it's cups. But you got to stand up 12 hours a day, and you got to take these cups because the cups come out of the machine, and it put the towel on it automatically. So you got to pull them, put them in the box. Boom, put them in the box. Boom, put them in the box. Then you got to fold the box up, tape it up, and you got to put the box on this thing. And it's like an easy gig, man, but that gig was killing me, So I kept that until I didn't get fired from that one. It came in one day and said, "Hey, man, COVID didn't hit kind of hard, took all of our sales. So right now we got to let everybody go." They never did call me back for that. So then I got another job doing paper, cardboard boxes, putting these, but you got to stand up 12 hours a day. That was the part of the job that was killing me. And I had made the mistake of telling one young lady that I spent 43 years in prison. Before the day was out, everybody knew it. So my supervisor came to me and said, "You the guy that spent 43 years in prison?" I said, "Yeah, yes, man. We gotta let you go." So anyway, I had that job for about 2 months. It didn't pay much, $14, $15 an hour. Man, I left that job, and then I got a job for the CDC, driving supplies. Now that was a cool gig. That gig was super cool. So I'm driving around, dropping off deliveries, and none of them was real heavy. So I like that job. I come in the morning, get my little pallet, get all my stuff and put it on it, drag it out to the van that I was going to use for that day, fill my van up according to which way. Okay, I'm dropping off here first, bam, all the way down. So I don't know, I had that job, I guess, a couple of months. And then Will came to me one day. He said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna have to let you go." Let me go. He said, "Man, you got a felony. Your record came back." I said, "Man, I've been working here too much." "Yeah, but you got a first-degree murder. We can't overlook that, man. I gotta let you go." So anyway, I lost that job. So, damn, this coffee pretty good. Anyway, I got another job for Music and Arts Warehouse. And I kept that job for a couple of years, I'm putting violins, cellos, saxophones, trumpets, and all that stuff away, stacking it up for the drivers to drive to different places. And then when they come back, as the stuff come back, I put it up. That was a cool gig too. I liked who I was working with, but it wasn't paying no money. It was $11 an hour. But it was a cool gig though, So kept that job, man, for a couple of years. I had a bunch of jobs out here now that I think about it. And I had another job at Emory Hospital. It's probably the last job I had. No, it's not the last one, but yeah, the last job I had. I used to go to work at 4:30 in the morning, get there at 5:30. My boss was like, "Man, you don't punch in to 6. Your shift is from 6 to 3, not from 5 to 3." That I used to like to get on the road at 4:30 because it wouldn't be no traffic. I get on the road, man. I get there, and if I left a little later, like 5:30 or something, I'll be all day getting to work. So I guess it was a nurse who didn't like me at that gig because I came in one day and 3 of my tires were slashed. It's like, God damn. So I had to call a tow truck and had my car towed to Discount Tire, which was really right around the corner. I had 3 tires. So a couple of weeks later, the tire that they didn't get, they slashed that one. You know. So again, I had to get my car towed to Discount Tire because the way they slashed the tire, I couldn't like put it. Every time I put air in it, it just go right back out. You know. So it was another tire. So maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple months later, somebody broke one of my windows out. You know. And I said, wow, this shit is deep. You know. And so then a couple months later, I'm driving home, and my boss dad called me, say, man, did you pull a gun on somebody? Then I pull a gun. I said, where did that shit come from? I said, hell no, I ain't pulling a gun. I don't even own a gun. He said, well, anyway, they called the police, and that was a wrap for that job. I never went back. I don't know what happened, but I know somebody apparently called him, and apparently according to him, they called the police and said that I pulled a gun on an employee. Man, something crazy. So one of the nurses I was cool with that should remain anonymous called me, and she said, I ain't gonna tell you which one of the nurses it was, but one of them had a bounty on you. One of them had a bounty on you. What was that about? She just wanted you out the way. And I said, man, she could have just came to me and told me, you know, don't work over here no more. I'd have been cool with that. Anyway, so after that job, I got a job maybe a year later at Kroger, stocking shelves. But that job was from 6 to 4. And I used to have to take Micah to school, to the bus. And so, I had to make a choice between whether I wanted to keep that job or whether I wanted to take him to school. He's 17. I decided to take him to school. So that left me unemployed. And so now I'm surviving off, $100 a week in the church. And with that $100, that puts gas in the car, and it puts a few dollars in my pocket. So anyway, that's what that was all about. So anyway, going back to what I went to prison for. I got locked up when I was 17 for the murder of a police officer. And at the time when the police officer was being murdered, I was at the local 212 playing in a band. I was on stage playing my guitar, doing my thing. And, it's ironic. Dennis Van Fletteren, who was also a police officer, was the partner and best friend of the guy who got killed. He was actually talking to him when he got murdered. Like they were at a pub, a bar, club. I don't know what it would be called in '76, but they were there. And the deceased got up to leave, and he left. And so his partner got up shortly behind him and came to the door. And he walked outside, and he was, calling him, hey, man, you want to ride to your car? And he turned around and said, nah, man, I make it, In the process of them having this conversation, a white Mark IV pulled up and got stuck a shotgun out the window. Boom, blowed his brains out. So he ran to the street, tried to stop the white Mark IV, and it almost ran him down. So he crouched down as the car sped past him. He got the license plate number. And once he got the license plate number, he ran back down to his friend and took his shirt off and put his shirt under his head. He probably knew he was dying because he had a big hole in his head. And So while this was happening, it's a brown Ford, double parked on Harper in front of the bar. This happened on Harper Street in Detroit. And it's 4 young adults in the car. Jay Smith, Kim Devine, Gloria Radicek, and Donald DeMarco. And so Jay Smith was getting ready to pull off because he was getting ready to drop his passenger off. And he looked in the rearview mirror, saw a flash, and then he saw the deceased fall in the street. And he seen the white Mark IV speed back. So Gloria, or whoever she was, hadn't got out the car. So he drove to where the deceased was. And he said, "Hey, man, what happened?" And so Dennis Van Fletteren said, "Hey, man, the guy in the white Mark IV just shot my partner." So he turned around, finna chase the car, you know. And so he got so far, and one of the passengers said, "Hey, man, you know this guy's a killer, man." And, you know he armed. He got a shotgun. We don't have nothing. He stopped, turned back around, you know. And so he went and he pulled up. And by this time, Richard, I don't know why I can't think of this guy's name, but his name is Richard. He was a police officer. He was coming down Beard. And so he happened to see, because he came up after the shot. He turned, he said, "Hey, man, what happened? I'm a police." He said, "Hey, man, this guy here is a police, and I'm a police. All these is police." And he said, "What happened?" He said, "Man, the guy in the Mark IV just shot him and sped off." So he said, "Well, let me call it in." So because this is 1976. Anybody got cell phones? None of that. 1976. So he pulled into the Great Scott supermarket, which was still open, 1 o'clock in the morning. And he asked for, or he called. He made a phone call, 911 call to dispatch to let them know that a cop had been shot and there's cops out here. And so Richard Ferran, that was his name, Richard Ferran. He was in the car with Donna Argo and her 6-year-old son. So anyway, they after he called the police, the police arrived, and all 3 of these police, I'm talking about Richard Ferran, Dennis Van Fletteren, Gerald Sipatowski, which was the guy's name who got killed. All 3 of these are white officers. So officers pulled up. They're all black officers. And they got the body, put the body on stretcher, because at that time EMS was on strike. So EMS wasn't moving. So they put the body in the back of the police car. So Dennis Van Fletteren was getting ready to get in this car, and one of the officers in the car was a female officer. Her name was Lorraine Williams. She was a black officer. And she said, "Hey, man, where you going?" "That's my partner. I'm finna go to the hospital with him." And she said, "No, you ain't going to." "Bitch, black bitch, who the fuck you think you talking to?" And he got in the car like, "Bitch, fuck you." Closed the door and they took off. So, and so that's pretty much what happened. That's one version of what happened anyway. There was 3 juveniles, Jeffrey Mulligan, Ronald Pentway, and Mark Kennedy, who stated that the 4 of us were together in a yellow Grand Torino, and that we pulled up to a bus stop, and I asked the deceased for his wallet, and then I shot him in the head, and then we sped off. So the problem with this testimony is it's quite a few people on the scene of the crime. It's quite a few patrons at the Great Scott Supermarket. It's Dennis Van Flettering. It's William Eichmann, the bartender. It's the 4 young adults that were in the car. Nobody saw Yellow Grand Torino but these 3 juveniles. They're the only ones who saw that. And so anyway, at the time, I'm actually on stage playing the guitar, with a band. You know what I'm saying? Mind blowing. This is some mind blowing stuff. So a couple days later, it might even been the next day. I don't know, because it's 50 years now. It's 50 years ago, literally 50 years, half a century ago. So I went down to a lawyer's office and turned myself in. And, my mother gave me her life savings, $3,000. It's a lot of money in 1976. That's like 40,000 now. And so she gave him, Gerald Lawrence, $3,000. And I got locked up. And he told me, he said, tell me what happened. I said, man, I don't know what happened. I was on stage, man, with a band. I don't know what happened. So he said, it's probably just a mix-up. I'll have you out in a couple of hours. At the latest, 2 weeks. So anyway, this is August of 1976. March of 1977, I still hadn't heard from this guy. Didn't know the lawyer. I don't know what happened to him. So a lawyer came to see me, and he said, "What kind of cop you want?" I didn't even know what he was talking about. I said, "What kind of cop? What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He said, "Okay, I guess you're going to trial," and left. That was the extent of our conversation. So about a week later, they called me on the loudspeaker. "Hey, Lewis, 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Get up." I got dressed, came on out. "What's up? You going to trial?" "Going to trial." So I go down to the bullpen, go around. Long story, we start trial. We get to trial, we pick the jury. I still never knew Dennis Van Flettering was an eyewitness who said somebody else killed his partner. I never knew that. When I went to trial, all I knew was I didn't do it. So anyway, Dennis Van Flettering, he gets up, he testifies, "Hey, I was talking to my partner. Lester Nathaniel pulled up, shot him, killed him, blue, blue, blue." So Lester Nathaniel testified. He said, "Yeah, I was on Harper. I had my lights off. I was coming down Harper, but I didn't shoot the police officer. I just seen some guys run in the street, and I tried to run them over." So all their testimony is consistent except for the fact that they said he killed the police. He said he didn't. Everything else match up. So they asked him what happened. He said the police came to my house, kicked my door in, arrested me. They impounded my car, and they took me to the precinct. And then Gilbert Hill came to see me in the county jail, in the police station, and said, "Hey, man, you must got friends in high places because I've been ordered to let you go." And this was an hour later. He said he stayed locked up an hour for murder. So now let me just clarify this for a minute. 1976, if you get locked up for a traffic ticket, you're going to stay locked up longer than an hour. For a traffic ticket. Not just anything else. For a traffic ticket, you're going to stay locked up longer than an hour. So anyway, he was released after an hour. So I went on to trial, and I had a hung jury, 11-1. One brother didn't want to find me not guilty. Imagine that, man. So anyway, I have a second trial in May. And by this time I done turned 18. So I got a judge out of Flint that's coming to try my case. And his name is Bivens. I can't remember his first name, but it was Bivens, Judge Bivens. So we had like 2 days of trial. And out the blue, the trial just ended. Poof. No rhyme, no reason, no nothing. He gone, and I ain't. So my heart come back in July. July 5th, I'm tried again. Now, this trip, what was different was at my third jury trial, my lawyer, which was Arthur Arwin, which was a mob lawyer, argued to the jury that I was guilty. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, originally it was 4 young kids who committed this crime, but it's only one here on trial. But the other 3 are just as guilty as the defendant, and they should all go to prison for what they did. He shouldn't be the only one to have to go to prison. So the jury found me guilty. So now when I say mob lawyer, let me preface this by saying this in a way where it won't get me in any trouble. Anyway, about 10 years later, I'm at Huron Valley Men's Facility. And it's a white guy there slinging the N-word like he got a license. Nigga, 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 you niggas, nigga. Saying it to the wrong guys. He feel like because he a mob boss, he protected, he could say whatever he wanted to say. Guys he's saying this to, stone gangsters and stone killers, don't know nothing about the mob, don't give a damn about the mob. So they coming around the corner and they all got these big knives. I said, damn, man, what y'all ready to do, man? Man, we getting ready to kill this hunky, man. He called us a bunch of niggas, man. You gonna learn today. So I happened to see who they talking about. I said, oh man, that's my man, man. Let me handle this, man. I got him, man. I'm gonna get him together, man. Y'all just please don't kill. Y'all don't need murder cases, man. Y'all finna go home, man. Fall down on that shit, man. I got it, man. And you ain't never say that again. I guarantee that. All right, man. We gonna let you handle it, man. So they leave. So white guy come and talk to the white guy from the mob. He was an Italian, but they all look white to me, and they all look white to everybody else. So anyway, he was telling this man, that got KK save your life, man, because them guys going to kill you. And so the next day he come to the law library. I'm working in the law library, and he said, hey man, I heard you saved my life yesterday, man. I really want to thank you for that, man, because I really appreciate it, because the way I was told, there's no way I could live through that. And I said, nah, you weren't gonna live through that. They was gonna kill you. They was gonna make an example out of you. And he said, man, I need to help you, man. I gotta do something, man, to help you, man, to show my appreciation. So he said, man, what you in here for? I said, man, I'm in here for a police that got killed on the east side on Harper and Barrett in 1976, about 10 years ago. He said, damn, man, that was our murder. I said, what? He said, yeah, that was a mob hit, man. You know. So that's you. All that time, that was you, huh? I didn't never know who you was, but I knew, you know, somebody fell for it that ain't had nothing to do with it. Anyway, so he went to a lawyer, Neil Fink. Now I can tell you this part of the story. He told Neil Fink, he said, man, whatever it take, man, to get him out, man. I want him out on the streets, man, because that's my man, man. He saved my life. Neil Fink told him, say, hey, man, he locked in. Ain't nothing we can do for him, man. When he went to trial, his lawyer was a mob lawyer. It was just a mob hit. This was everything, man. He can't. It's nothing we can do, man, to help him out, man. You know, he ain't gonna never see the light of day. So, you know, you give him some money or something, but we can't help him get out the penitentiary. So anyway, when I'm writing a book about, you know, 4 guys having conversation about the mob, I changed a few things because I wanted to make certain that nobody could read it and figure out who I was talking about or who I got this information from. Anyway, yeah, it was a mob hit, man. My lawyer was a mob lawyer. He argued at the third trial because he figured that was the only way that I was gonna get found guilty. Cause he came to me with a cop first. He said, "Hey man, they offering you, 5 years, man. You want to take 5 years?" I said, "Man, I ain't taking nothing. I ain't did that. I ain't taking no cop." So he was resigned to where I guess I got to get him found guilty. So he argued to the jury that I was guilty, and so I get found guilty. I get sentenced to mandatory life, and I end up at the Hill. So on appeal, so Jack Legs lawyer, man, Raymond Miller. So it's just real funny. I'm talking to one of the old heads. Most of the guys in the law library was stuck on booty, spades, and chess. And what I mean by that was they had different times of the day when they would bring like H unit up. And H unit was all the guys who couldn't function in society. And so they would literally get a couple of, sissies, fuck the shit out of them on them days. And that's what they look forward to. Fucking the shit out the sissies, playing chess, playing spades. So one of the guys, he wasn't into none of that. He looked my lawyer up. He said, "Man, this motherfucker that's representing you, he ain't never won a case. You need to fire him." So I wrote the judge, tried to get him off the case. None of that, judge. Fuck you, nigga. We ain't staying on the case. Fuck you, bitch, motherfucker. So anyway, I write all the stuff out for the appeal. Hey, man, ineffective assistance counsel, this, that, and the other. I had about 13 issues. Sent them to him. What he did was he took my letters, put them in a brief, sent them to the Court of Appeals. And so my appeal get denied. So then I filed in the Supreme Court, and get denied. So I go back to the trial court with another issue about missing witnesses, because I had found where it was a sergeant. There was about 15 witnesses that was on the scene of the crime who never got called. They just disappeared because the prosecutor didn't feel like he needed to call them. And hey sis, what's going on?
Oh, I missed your call down here hanging out at the beach.